Well, thank you, Chuck, and thank you for your leadership. We have this big, beautiful betrayal of a bill. And as you all saw, the president on 4th of July strutting out there. Well, the American people are on to this. And despite the fact that we have Republicans that have actually said, they're not going to notice it anyway. They're going to forget about it later. That's not true. When you look at history, as Senator Schumer just mentioned, most unpopular bill ever was when they tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act. You look at the numbers on this legislation, and it's quite extraordinary. It is very much less popular than the 2017 Trump tax cuts. It is significantly less popular than other bills that were actually above water when they passed. That would be things like the bipartisan infrastructure law and COVID relief. The American people, 2-1, are against this bill. They believe it's going to help the wealthiest, and they're right. They are on to this. They have marched our constituents in more than 15,000 rallies this year, 3 times as many as 2017. They've turned out in elections, and this includes independents and moderate Republicans in states like Wisconsin that flipped 10 counties in the Supreme Court race, Iowa, Pennsylvania flipping state Senate seats, and Nebraska flipping the Omaha mayor. And that is just the beginning. So no one should get sucked down into this vortex that the American people are going to be duped, that they're not going to figure out what happened here, that it financed a bunch of tax cuts for the wealthy. And the one thing that we think it is important for people to know now, that not all of this, as much as they tried to make it take effect after the midterms, not all of it is after the midterms. These hospitals, they can't just decide, well, we're going to wait a year and a half for the Medicaid cuts to come in. No, they have to make, as Chuck pointed out, these investment decisions right now, and they are making them across the country. And our numbers show we're going to see the closure of hundreds of rural hospitals as well as nursing homes. At the end of this year, health insurance premiums will rise for 24 million Americans who get insurance through the Affordable Care Act. 90% increase for rural Americans. Americans will be notified of these higher premiums in November of this year. And an estimated 4 million people won't be able to afford those higher bills and will lose their coverage entirely. Food assistance. A number of the food assistance provisions, while that mockery of the state shift with allowing the high error rate states, including Alaska, to get 2 years off, by virtue of the fact that they have high error rates. Well, that takes effect in a few years. Part of the food assistance cut will take part immediately at a time when grocery prices are nowhere near going down with the Trump tariffs. At the end of this year, the bill will also end a number of tax credits that are lowering energy costs for families. That's part of the reasons you see the numbers on the utility bills. That's what we're seeing right now, right in front of it. This bill breaks promises made by Republicans who work in this building to the American people. Promises made by Donald Trump and those voters that voted for him in my state that also voted for me. They voted for him because they thought he was going to bring down costs. That is not happening with this bill. They voted for him because they thought he'd do something about health care. It's going to make it worse for them, especially in the rural areas. We will continue to fight every attempt to raise costs on American people. We have our own ideas, we have our own agenda, but the important thing to remember right now, if they try to say no one notices because they're out at their barbecues, no, they notice. And it's showing up right now in these elections this year, it's showing up in the polls, and it is clearly going to sadly show up in their pocketbooks.